Hi guys, Top Pops here, and today I'm going to be comparing Brickheadz versus Funko Pops. So let's get right into it. I'm not saying it. So if you guys don't know what Brickheadz are, they're like Lego's version of a collectible figure. I actually have one of them completed right here, and it is a Batman one that I've had for a little while now. It's a little dusty, but this does show you guys what they look like. So here is the Batman Brickhead right here. It's very similar to a Funko Pop, but it is just built out of Lego. And what I tried to do was find the closest Funko Pop to this Brickhead right here, and I found this one. This is the one that's kind of like a classic Batman. It came out a couple years ago. I think it was, 2019. Actually, it was only last year. But you guys can see here, this one is very similar to that Brickhead right there. Now, just from looking at both of these here, you guys can see that they both have very large circular eyes, and that goes across pretty much every single Brickhead as well as Funko Pop. And you guys can see they're both about the same height, and they have larger heads than a normal figure. And these figures right here kind of remind me of like the chibi style, where they have like larger heads as well as cuter eyes. And this set right here was already built, so you guys might think, well, that's kind of boring. Why'd you build it already? Well, that one's one that I've had for a while, but I do have two new sets that we're going to be building today, which are the Avengers Infinity War Thanos, as well as the Mandalorian and the Child. And the first one that we're going to be building today is Thanos. Alright guys, so that was the build for Thanos, and if you guys want to see it a little bit closer up, there he is right there. You guys can see it does look really cool. It's a little bit cuter than I would say the Funko Pop is, but it still really looks like Thanos. I also like that they gave him the Infinity Gauntlet, and there are some unique pieces inside of the set as well, like his chin, as well as the Infinity Gauntlet stones. And I was thinking maybe they would have those pieces in the other sets, but then I thought about it that he's a big fig in that set, and not a Brickhead with a bunch of different pieces. Now let me also grab my Thanos Funko Pop here, and you guys can see this is the one from Infinity War, so it's the same character, and this one is a lot bigger than the Brickhead, not like the Batman where they were pretty much the same height. Alright guys, so here's the Thanos Brickhead and here's the Thanos Funko Pop. They are a bit of a different purple as well. I feel like this one's more screen accurate than this one is here. This one kind of reminds me more like the comic books, where it's like a lighter pinkish purple like that, where this one kind of seems more like his actual skin tone in the film. And because this is Lego, I know there's going to be some details missing from the character, but I will say they both got the Infinity Gauntlet on the same side, and both suits look pretty screen accurate. And I feel like Lego did really well with this one, because you can see on there they actually did put the decal one to make it a little bit easier for them. Probably instead of trying to make that just a couple extra bricks like those small 1x1s, you can see there that this one has the exact same crest right on the front. Now one thing that I will say I like a lot more about Funko Pops than I do about Brickheadz is that they have a really nice face. Like with this one here, he's got a smile, he looks angry, there's wrinkles, where with this one here, it's just some cute eyes as well as some of his chin. But I will say both companies did capture Thanos really well. I would say if you saw these on the shelves, you would both know they're Thanos. It's just that this one's in a bit of a different style because it's Lego. Alright guys, now let's get on to the next set, which would be the Mandalorian as well as the Child. And let's start with the Mandalorian. Alright guys, well that was the Mandalorian build, and this one here took double the amount of time it did to make the Thanos. Now just from looking at it, it probably looks to be about the same, but there are a lot of small things that you had to do which made it a lot longer. For example, the helmet here, to get that little black slit in the middle, you had to build two separate pieces to then slide in there instead of just putting a piece in the front. And I think it does look a lot better, and it is cool that Lego is finding different ways to make the figures look more detailed, even though they're about the same height. He also has a lot of other blasters and stuff. He's got two weapons on the side, he's holding a blaster, and then he's got a huge one on the back side, as well as a cape and a lot of other things. And I will say this too, because it came in a 2-pack with the Child, and the Child is a lot smaller, maybe they took the extra little bit of money and made this one a lot more detailed. Now of course I do have the Funko Pop to go along with this, and it is this one right here. Now it does have the blaster in the front instead of across his back, but this is the closest one Funko has. Now one thing I did notice about the Funko Pop right away is that this one has a little bit of rust on the helmet, and you really can't do that on Lego. So this one right here, just because of that, is a little bit more detailed, and you can see the slit going down the front of his helmet helmet there. That's what Lego was trying to accomplish, and it looks pretty good on the figure. Also, this might be the exclusive piece when it comes to the Brickhead here, but you guys can see he's got the blue on his shoulder there, and I don't know where they'd be able to fit that piece into any other set. Maybe it has, I'm not too sure, but that one's the weird piece in this set. And then you guys can see here, the Funko Pop also has a little blue on his shoulder, and it's right there. Now, of course, guys, this does come down to detail again, where the Lego figure does not have as much detail as the Funko Pop, but of course, that's expected. Now, guys, let's get on to the last figure for today, which would be the child. Alright guys, so that was the child, and if you guys are wondering, this one took about 15 minutes, so a little bit longer than Thanos, but a lot shorter than the Mandalorian. So if you guys want to see the two next to each other, they are about the same height, because I feel like they want to make every single one maybe about 3 inches tall, I'm guessing that's what it is. And this one here comes in the little like hover chair when the Funko Pop does not. I actually have the Funko Pop right here, of course, and this is the child right there, guys. So let me pop this one out of the box and let's compare the two. All right, guys, so here are the two figures right here, and the Brickhead is a little bit shorter than the Funko Pop, but because the Funko Pop is a bobblehead, depending on the spring, it's gonna be a little bit taller or shorter, but not by that much. But I do wanna say, if we were to take this one out of the chair, because this is what the Funko Pop looks like, it is a lot smaller than the actual figure here. This one here is probably about half the size, and I totally get why they gave him the chair, because otherwise it would have been kind of chitsy.
This is an informal term, cheap and of poor quality.
Now, the one thing I will say about this is the Funko Pop does have more detail, of course, just because it's a lot easier to add a lot of detail to a vinyl figure than it is to Lego. And you guys can see this one has the mouth, it's got the longer ears, where this one here is just kind of, you know, it's a little guy, he's there. Still looks like the child, just, like I said, a lot less detail. Also, with this Brickhead right here, I will say that most of the detail comes from the chair, because this is actually more pieces than the child. So once you put him inside, you can see it really does add a lot to the figure. And there is actually a Funko Pop that sits in the chair, so let me grab that one real quick. And it's not a figure that comes by itself like this, it actually comes inside of the television moment. You know what's funny, guys? Looking at this Mandalorian here, it actually looks more like the Brickhead than the other one does. And one thing that I did notice is that he has all of these same weapons in the same spots on this one here. So he's got the one on his back, he's got the other one in his hand. Well, actually it's more in his holster on the side, but he's got his hand right on it, as well as a couple little weapons around his leg there as well. But the real reason we're looking at this here is to show off the child. And I will say this child here looks very similar to this one, you guys can see. The one thing that I will say about the Lego version is that there's a little too much yellow. You guys can see on the circle here, it's got like 2 pieces of yellow, where on this, it's got no yellow at all. But I'm guessing those are the pieces that Lego could use without making it too yellow, because otherwise they would have been these huge pieces, and that would have just looked weird. All right, guys, so here's all the figures that we have today, and I will say one thing about Brickheadz. It's kind of cool to build the character and then have it on your shelf, because it feels a little bit more special than just, say, buying a Thanos and then putting it on your desk. But both of these do look really great. I will say there is more detail on the Funko Pops, but if you're a fan of Lego, you're probably going to want to get these ones. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys want to see more from me in the future, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all that. But this has been another episode of Top Pops. Popsters, thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow.